Hi, my name is Dino Sossi. I'm a student here at Teachers College. Like a lot of you, when I graduated from college, I had time and I had money. To be more clear, I had a lot of time and very little money. Strange how these things seem to keep repeating over and over and over again. Like a lot of people, I hadn't really traveled very widely when I graduated college, and I thought, I'm going to go to Europe. I'm Italian by ethnic background. And so I decided to go to Europe. The easiest place, the cheapest place to go initially from North America to Europe is Amsterdam. So I flew into Amsterdam. It was great, it was phenomenal, I had a great time. That was the first destination I went to. The second destination I went to was somewhere else in Europe. I can't really remember. Let's just say I lost the idea of where it was in a bit of a purple haze. Eventually, after the haze had cleared, I ended up going to Ireland to go visit a good friend of mine, Mr. Connor McDonough, a friend of mine from grade school. And Connor graciously let me into his apartment and his room. Actually, Connor had just sort of left his door open by accident, so I kind of scurried in through the door when he wasn't there, when he was at work, and I ended up staying in his living room. And well, first in his bedroom, I was sleeping there, and he didn't like that so much, so I went out to his living room, and I stayed on his old tattered futon. I stayed there for such a long time that his roommate stopped calling me Dino and kept calling me by the refrain I would say every day, which was, "Ow, my back." So again, I talked to Connor and said, "Hey Connor, I have a video camera in Toronto and I need to get a microphone from New York and I'm going to get them sent here. Can I stay with you for a little while, a couple days?" And one day led to another day, led to another week, led to multiple weeks, led to a month. I was there for 1 month, and Connor again was very kind, sharing this futon with me. Great, I enjoyed it a lot. And while I was there, I thought, I've got to phone my Uncle Victor to find out about our Italian background. So I phoned him and I said, "Victor, you remember when I was a little kid, you told me all these really heartwarming stories of Italy. I was a kid and you're an adult, and so unless there was food involved, I really wasn't paying attention." So he told me exactly where we lived. Basically, he said, fly, take a train, whatever, to Trieste, which is in northern Italy, go down, which is south, when you get to a canal. When you see this major canal, turn left, which is east for those of you who are into ordinal directions. And eventually you'll find a town called Sossi town, Villa Sossi, which is Sossi town in English. My last name is Sossi, so basically it's a whole town of people like me, which is, again, maybe a bit weird. So, you know when you're in college, you try to rush a frat, or you try to get into a sorority, or you just want to make friends, so sometimes people come up with ideas that you're like, that's not really smart, but I want to have friends, so you do things. And I was kind of in that mindset, so although I had no names, no phone numbers, just the name of a very small town somewhere by a canal, I ended up trying to go and find my relatives. And luckily enough, I did find some people. Basically, I made this documentary. It's about how my Uncle Victor is an Italian immigrant who's lived in North America for many, many decades. I went to Europe to try to find out why he's never, ever returned home. He has money, he has a passport, he has time, but he's never gone back. And it's called home.
Every winter, as the winds grew cold and howled over old Lake Chippewa, I would always visit my Uncle Victor, and he would share with me wonderful stories about the old country, his family, his friends. But no matter how much we spoke, he would never say why he left and never returned. So I decided to find out for myself.
My cousin Franco asked me when Victor would come to visit. And all I could think of, in the middle of all this laughter and all these wonderful people, is that seeing this is the closest he'll ever come to being back home. There's nothing I can do.
That's me. That's my life.
Through the process of going to Italy, through the process of making this documentary, I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about my uncle, about our family there, our family here, our long immigrant story. I thought, I'm at Teachers College, a renowned graduate professional school of education. I want to learn more about that, and I want to be able to teach that to kids. And so then I thought, we're in New York City, let me try and figure out a way to integrate this within the curriculum for social studies and immigration. And luckily I ended up sharing the documentary video at home and accompanying photographs. The classroom teacher, Ms. Jean Neal, who's a great woman, great teacher, highly professional, she ended up bringing in a really beautiful carved statue out of ebony. It's of a mother and a child. Her mother had given it to her when she was young, and it was really, really sweet of her, and she held it very closely. But then Ms. Neal shared it with her daughter, so it became this intergenerational artifact that was passed on. It was really touching, and you could feel in the room the kids really loving her story and the emotion she was sharing. Then afterwards, the kids, they drew drawings of the immigrant experiences, they shot photographs, they brought in artifacts. And let me just describe a couple for you. I could go on for a long time, but just let me get to a couple that were really nice. One boy, one of the first kids I'd met, who I didn't know so well, he drew a picture of his mother and his sister, himself, and some other people in his family. He talked about how the fact that his mother and sister had contracted diabetes and had heart attacks and died at a young age, and how he missed them and loved them. Another girl talked about her really challenging departure from her family in the Middle East, flying on a plane and coming to the US and growing up here. Another child, also from the Middle East, strangely enough, she brought in a party dress that her grandma had given to her that she had worn at this really beautiful party when she was a little girl. Another boy, he's originally from the Dominican Republic. His grandfather, right before he died, gave him these really beautiful diamond earrings, and so he wore those and shared them with us. Another girl brought in a teddy bear from her childhood, and really numerous things. One of the ones I remember most was, it was kind of funny, was a boy brought in a PlayStation Portable. Maybe not part of the immigration experience, but guys, we like playing video games, you know, we have our weaknesses. So from all these things, I learned a lot about myself and these kids, and it was great. And the sharing, emotional interchange between myself, Miss Neal, these kids, and all of us together was amazing. And I'm convinced that all of you could do it. Some of you may be saying right now, Dino, I don't have a video of myself visiting my relatives in a foreign land. In fact, my relatives live in the same apartment as me. I see them a bit too much. Having a video would be overkill. Some of you might go, I have a mother, I have a dad, but I don't have a beautiful ebony statue that's been passed on for generations. That's true. But all of you have your own stories and your own emotions. And if you share your stories of yourself and your lives and your family's lives, and you share the emotions that come with those things, you can open up just panoramas, wide vistas of the way that people grow as human beings. It's unfortunate, but I believe in a lot of ways we are living in a time that's maybe, it's such a difficult time as an educator. Accountability standards have never been higher. Standardized tests go on seemingly indefinitely. And everyone's getting squeezed, administrators, teachers, parents, students. And I think in some ways schools are more inhumane than ever because we extract so many things from these kids. We put up so many barriers. There's so many things for them to do. They don't have a lot of time to breathe emotionally. And I think, and I wholeheartedly believe from my own experiences with Ms. Neal and several classes with her, that if we strive to share our emotions, we share our stories in whatever form they are, we can share those things with these kids, these lovely students, and if we do that, they will reciprocate in kind, much like they did with myself and Ms. Neal. A lot of us talk about school reform and being agents of change. If you want to do that, you radically need to be able to say, I have my own personal stories, I have my own personal emotions, I want to share them, and if you make those changes in the way that you teach and you interact with students, I am completely convinced, from numerous artifacts, from numerous drawings, from numerous photographs, that can in fact happen. So thank you very much. My name is Dino Sossi.